then showed them pictures of a black man and a white man. What were some comments about the black man?
He looks mean. FBI most wanted. He looks weird. He looks like he's a basketball player.
So, tell me about this guy. Does he seem like a nice person?
I think he's nice. I think he's nice, except he might be mad about something.
He was probably picking up on something. This is Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh. But when we ask which man is a criminal, most kids pointed to the black man. And when we asked which was a teacher, they said,
That one! The guy in the green shirt.
The Imus affair has once again raised questions about race and racial bias in our society. Most of us would like to think that we are not racist, but could we harbor prejudices that we may not even be aware of? A few years ago, we showed you a surprising scientific test that can reveal hidden racial bias. It's a test worth looking at again this week. Here's Sarah James.
I want to take a moment to apologize for an insensitive and ill-conceived remark we made.
While Don Imus has apologized for his racial slurs, he insists he's not a racist. But is it possible that virtually all of us have a hidden racial bias, hidden even from ourselves? Several years ago, Dateline brought together two groups of volunteers, African American and white, who agreed to take a test scientifically designed to answer just that question.
Here's how it works. These words and faces appear rapidly, one after another, around the screen. The test taker is supposed to link one to the left or right box here in the center, linking positive words like friend to good, negative words like awful to bad, white faces with white, black faces with black. And it's the mistakes that are so revealing.
We find that frequently. Some people are disturbed by their results. Ready? Go.
Dateline put this experiment to a difficult challenge, testing a cross-section of men and women, including some who have impeccable credentials in race relations. People like Rhonda, a civil rights attorney.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, here it is.
During the first half of the test, black is linked to bad, and white is linked to good.
Right.
For Rhonda, this half of the test is a breeze. She never makes a mistake.
Okay, very good. Now, we'll give you the other one.
Okay.
But let's see how she does when the information is reversed, when the left box, marked bad, has a white face, and the right box, labeled good, has a black face.
Left, left.
Suddenly the test becomes much more difficult for Rhonda. About a third of the way through, she makes a mistake, linking the white face to the right box, even though that shows a black face.
I lost it.
Okay.
Rhonda's score indicates a strong preference for white. Is this because she unconsciously associates white with good?
Well, I could tell when I was taking it, I had so much of an easier time doing the white with good, much to my dismay.
We all might be prejudiced in ways we're not aware. So even
Mazar Banaji of Harvard University and Anthony Greenwald of the University of Washington created this test.
What do you think this test reveals that perhaps we didn't know before?
how fair are we being when we judge a person?
Okay.
Betsy, an events planner, had similar results.
Left, right.
Once again, on the part of the test which associates black with good and white with bad, a white test taker flounders.
Right.
I don't know. You held it together almost to the end.
Betsy's test shows a preference for white.
There would be many people who would say, what's wrong with showing a preference for your own race?
In some contexts, it's actually illegal to do so. In employment contexts, in college admissions.
But what does all this prove? Like the other participants, Jeff first took the test individually on a computer, and his test too revealed a preference for white. But he refused the subsequent studio test, saying he doesn't think the experiment reveals anything at all.
I think the test for a person like myself, who has some spatial difficulties and left-right difficulties, is questionable.
Professor Banaji, Jeff is questioning your test.
Well, Jeff's experience is not unusual. Let's say you are having spatial difficulties, or let's say you've never used a computer before. It could easily have been the case that if that was the problem, that we could see a strong preference for black over white, but that didn't happen.
In fact, this experiment has passed scientific scrutiny. And the results of the professor's experiments have been published in leading psychological journals. Our results reflect the professor's findings.
Something like 79 or 80% of white Americans who take the test show a preference for white over black.
And as revealing as those results are, the biggest surprise is yet to come.
Left.
Joan is a sales and marketing consultant. Even for many black test takers, the more challenging part of the test seems to be when black is associated with good and white with bad.
Okay, didn't get halfway through. We'll start over. Okay. Ready? Set.
After 2 attempts, she still can't make it to the end.
I've done it again.
Even so, Joan still thought she'd show a preference for her own race.
Would you be surprised then, Joan, if I said that your test showed a slight preference for whites?
Yes, I would be.
Does it shock you?
Yes.
You're flabbergasted.
I'm flabbergasted.
And Joan isn't alone. Dennis is the leader of a civil rights organization. According to his test in the studio, Dennis is neutral, but his individual computer test showed a preference for white. His response?
All we had in images were whites through the type of media outlets that we were exposed to during my age generation, and that was a constant reinforcement over and over again.
Of the African Americans the professors have tested, 42% show a preference for whites. A large number, especially when you consider that only 17% of whites show a preference for blacks.
Go.
Left. Right.
And what of the other African Americans we tested? Heather is an assistant district attorney. On the part of the test where the black face is paired with the word bad, Heather has noticeable difficulty and can't finish. She showed a strong preference for African Americans, and her pride was unabashed.
This made me feel more comfortable knowing that I've embraced my culture.
Left.
Randolph, a high school music teacher, also showed a preference for his own race.
Does it concern you at all that you have a strong preference for African Americans?
Does that score mean that I do not like European Americans? No. Is my subconscious aware of the condition that African Americans are in this country at this particular point? My conscious is.
According to the research, 48% of African Americans have a preference for their own race.
That's exactly what it comes out as, a strong preference for blacks, and it doesn't
The professors note that there's a difference in reactions between blacks and whites when they find out they have a preference for their own race.
Of course it bothers me, but
you could say it's pride or prejudice, what blacks consider a badge of